special finance committee meeting to order on December 6th, Monday at 4:17 p.m. Members present, James Mead, Kevin Myers, and myself, Chair.
The first thing you guys
Wait a
want-
minute,
oh,
public
oh, sorry.
participation. There's nobody here. The 2022 budget preview. And I'm going to turn it over to Kelly and the crew.
Okay, you have your updated December 6th budget paper
With all of them.
with all of the departments. Yep, and then you will have, that's pages 1 through 7. And then Jeff Dunn, you have all of his departments, and those are pages 1 through 3.
Okay.
And that's what he's gonna go through right now for you.
Thought it might be easier just to follow through 3 pages of all his stuff.
That's
So-
fine.
Is Joyce joining us today?
She is, she's gonna be a couple minutes late.
Okay.
She said to go ahead and start.
Mr. Dunn.
All right, I guess we'll start utility maintenance. You see that we put a salary line in there for 74,000. Hopefully we get a person hired for that for next year. And the next one is.
Is that the role that Eric Clady last held?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's the non-certified one.
Okay.
We tried getting a certified one and we had, what, 3 or 4 applicants and none of them were certified, so.
Certified for what?
Electrical license.
Electrical.
Next thing is lands and buildings. And my part of it is on the outside contracts is a maintenance agreement for the air handlers and boilers at the city hall, the same thing we did in 21.
Can I stop you a second?
Yeah,
Just the outside engineering, it was either the same or we had a carryover, but we left it or dropped it to 25,000.
Okay.
So, any other items in here, Jeff, if you wanna cover them while you're talking, if not, I'll do it, doesn't matter.
okay, some of that I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's all right,
Okay.
go ahead.
Maintenance agreement is 12,000, where it was 10,000 last year. We're talking about putting a path around the Othwaite Reservoir of using the asphalt grindings, and we'll have to regrind them to make that happen. We're looking at 125,000 to do that,
To grind them and to put them down?
yes.
Okay.
Next one's the building maintenance. For the windows for the pool house, we put it in the budget. This would be the 3rd time we would have put them in there. First time was like 14,000, that last time was 18,000. And this time here, it looks like it's gonna be 20,000 to do it. Painting of the inside of the pool house is $10,000 to take care of the ceiling, scraping, painting, everything inside to get that done open up for the season. Pool house roof was repaired this year. They're telling me if they come in and coat that with a sealant, that they can give me a 10-year warranty on that. And that cost would be $14,816.
Okay, question before we go any further.
Okay?
Now you're wanting to put new windows in and you want to paint the pool house.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any insulation in that roof? There's probably not, is there?
No. If anything, it's be some foam board or something underneath the roofing itself. Yeah,
Asbestos or lead paint or anything like that we have to deal with?
shouldn't have to. It's been painted before,
Yeah.
When was the roof actually last done? Just
2 weeks
Just
ago.
repair.
Yeah.
Repair.
Repaired 2 weeks ago.
But
Before
it's-
that was 2003. Did I tell you, Jeff?
I don't remember.
The roofing guys came back and told me they found where somebody did in '02 or '03.
Is it a candidate for what you did down at the Plymouth Street Station to do that type of a?
It's actually the same type of roof.
Is it? But they're only giving you a 10-year?
It's an old roof that they're gonna coat over top.
Okay.
What they did, they added to the sides and brought it up over the cap, like we did the other buildings. So Tech Roofing actually came in and just done that for me, and it was leaking in different spots, so they put it up over top instead of running that bead inside where the silicone, where it drips down in after a while. So they did it the same as the ambulance building.
So you're content with that cost for what you're getting for a 10-year warranty?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And I'll just add the reason that he was saying that we have had it in the budget and keep pulling it out is because not being able to,
The windows are, yeah.
balance the budget, trying to come up with ways to save money each year, so. He's just saying that the money, the price keeps going up, is what he was saying.
And what it is, we have to stick plywood up it's got wood slats up there. For years, they didn't put the plywood back up, which left the moisture get inside, which didn't help with the paint. So now we have to go back out and put the plywood up. Want to get it to a place basically you can slide a window open, keep it sealed up, or open it up and keep air moving.
Okay.
So you're gonna take the wood out, correct?
Yeah, the wood slats would come out and you wouldn't have to use the plywood anymore.
Good.
It'd be a vinyl window is what it would be.
Vinyl window with concrete. There wouldn't be any wood around it, correct? So it'd be like a basement window.
Well, yes.
Frame it in a little bit, maybe.
It'd be wood around it, but they would cap that off with aluminum.
Would glass block be any better?
Well, we need some
can't-
airflow.
Gotta have ventilation.
Well, I've seen the glass block ones that have the smaller piece that you can.
Well, it's
open.
basically 3 foot by 6 foot area is what it is, so you more air you can get moving in there in the
Gotcha.
summertime.
Did that answer your question, Jim?
But we need to get okay, I can only relate to what I've done in the past to houses is when we have wood around the frame, we take the wood completely out. We run the concrete up, we set the vinyl window on it and lock it into the concrete. And that way we take the wood completely out of the,
And you saying just wait
Equation.
around it then?
yeah.
What you're saying?
Yeah, I don't think that's the way Ohio Door planned on doing it. I think Dave's gonna cap around it. They'll probably have existing wood there yet with capping it off.
Okay.
They would put aluminum
But you're,
or
okay.
vinyl
As
over
long
the
as you
wood.
understand, you're still gonna have problems with that wood up against that concrete. It's always gonna draw moisture out of the concrete plus whatever. Or if you had concrete up against vinyl. But just an idea.
Yep. I'll make a note there.
You can always call them and ask them about it. It would probably, you would think it would save you some money. Because you're not putting the wood on and you're not putting vinyl or aluminum around the wood.
Well, I think the existing wood's there already. He wasn't actually any cost in the wood.
So he wasn't gonna take it out, which would increase the size of the window?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that's why.
Okay. Well, we'll check on it.
Okay.
New operating equipment, we just lowered it down to 10,000 from 13,000. Building improvements, well, I guess that's yours, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the fire department roof in there for a couple of years. We've patched it I don't know, for the last 2-3 years. It's holding up okay, and we wanted to redo the wastewater treatment plant drive back to the compost site. So that's what those 2 items are for. Chad has said nothing to me about the roof leaking, but we've put it off 2 or 3 years, and
Right.
I think it's just time.
Is this the last thing that needs done with the building for the foreseeable future?
As far as I know.
Well, I know we just did the windows, we did, sealed the
Yeah.
brick, we did all that stuff. I think we'd be crazy to think that in the next 5 to 10 years, we shouldn't be looking at a new fire station. So I wanted to see if this was kind of our last big expense.
I would think so. I don't know what would be left to fix, per se,
Okay.
so.
The wastewater treatment drive, I know that's in sad shape, but like we've done by changing the name of that drive,
Well, that goes back to the Friendship Bridge.
Yeah,
It
this is
doesn't
after you
count-
curve off to the
When you
left.
I know, I
It
know.
doesn't count that road going off to the left, to the compost.
True, but we have other streets that don't go much anywhere and we have them named.
We had this conversation though in the past, if you plat it out and give it a name, you have to leave it open. You can't close it off. And they close it off right now.
You can close off the business. There's
No,
other,
what he's saying is if we use street funds, we gotta be able to get back there 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And we close it out at Friendship Lane.
So you
It's the
can,
same thing on Miller Drive.
Yep.
We used to block that off, let's say change it into a street name, used a 0.5% money. It has to stay open year round.
Yep.
okay, that's fine, you answered the question.
I think though, Jeff, too, didn't you find out we needed to put a deeper base in there for The trucks we got going in and out of there are not.
Yes,
We get-
yeah, you would have to put more of a base underneath it, yes.
Are you wanting to pave it?
I'm not been involved in this, so,
I do believe that was our intention, was to pave it. Yeah. It's just that when we got looking at it, it was gonna be a little more than we thought because of the
Rebuild.
poor base. But
Tearing
we
it out and
got,
starting over?
yeah, hopefully we got the base we could put in, we just
yeah, he's been taking the grindings out there and just kind of
filling it
going
in.
over top for now to make it smoother is
Yeah.
what Tim's been doing.
Last till the next rainstorm?
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think they want to get some Christmas lights for the square for next year. Am I correct there?
Yeah,
Is that what?
yeah, I don't think we spent but a couple $100 this year.
Now, you had mentioned too that you felt like you needed to replace some more of the downtown lights. Is that included in that, or is that a separate item?
That would be a separate item, that's, you're talking about the street lights.
For the
downtown.
poles, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is just strictly Christmas lights.
Oh, I thought you had mentioned at one time you wanted to add on or replace some of what we had on the poles.
I really haven't done anything with those.
Okay.
Maybe I
I've been
misspoke, but I
working a
don't
little
remember.
bit with Jesse at the chamber. We're looking into some new decorations for the poles. When I had reached out to see what kind of options were available, it was gonna take like 6 weeks before we could get them. And obviously, we knew that wasn't gonna work for this year. So Jesse was looking at maybe some fundraising possibilities, plus they do have some funds available up there. So we've got some different things in
Gotcha.
the works for that.
I just thought I'd heard that mentioned at some point in the last couple of weeks, so.
Yeah, so we're working on some different options at this point, but it won't be for this year, it would be for next year.
Obviously.
Okay.
Traffic lights. We just upped that $300 for the telephone for traffic lights from last year, or from this year, I guess I should say. Street traffic lights, you can see we want to carry over 315,000 from item number 1 and number 2. Then we went and add number 3 in, is Mary Street Extension at East Mansfield. I got some issues with that control panel there and stuff, so if we do that, we're talking about putting new poles in and start updating that traffic light.
Do it like the ones up down here, or?
Yes, it'd be light poles and stuff, yes.
But you have the issue with the overpasses there, that you're still gonna have a lower one,
Yes, you're still, yeah,
so you're only talking basically one pole.
yes.
Unless you stop your eastbound traffic on the other side of the bridge for a red light.
And I was just, curious, because,
Yeah, we have, as far as engineering, we haven't actually done much on Mary Street Extension yet to get into details of it.
okay.
And I think McKeever's is gonna sub that out.
Yes, McKeever's is subbing the traffic light stuff out because water line sewer projects, we're just overwhelming, giving them way too much to them. They're gonna control what's going on with them, but some other company's gonna do it.
You're planning on putting the same streetlights in, right, as downtown?
Yes, it'll be the same, yes,
LED, correct?
yes.
Good choice.
Street department, outside engineering, we just lowered that down to about 85,000 less. Outside contracts, we upped it quite a bit, and the reason is, you can see underneath there for the sealing of the streets is what we did this year. Anything that we paved this year, we'll seal it next year. We get some light poles in downtown, that has street lamps on them, that's silver, that's rusted, that hasn't been maintained the 27 years I've been here, so I want to get those painted.
Does that finish up pretty much the rest of them in town?
Yes, that should take care of it, yes.
Yeah.
Question. You've got the sealant, okay? You did seal, I just went blank on the street, that we just paved this year.
Edgewood?
Edgewood,
Yes, I did, I went ahead and did that the same year.
okay. if that's successful, or even more successful, we would almost have to double that to do all our streets this year and the previous year.
Yes, we're not, that's more of a test deal.
I know, but I'm saying if that's
If it comes-
successful,
Yeah, if it comes down, I don't think you're gonna see that for a couple, 3 years. Watching what, if we do it a year later or the same year,
Are you gonna test one each year for the next 2 or 3 years, or you're just doing that one and sit
just
back and
doing that
wait?
one for right now. That's what we was planning on doing.
okay, I was just curious because I think, that'd be, if that's successful, I think that's the best thing to do is go and do it the same year we pave it. If it's
Well,
cost effective.
some cities do that, some don't, and a lot of the people I talk to give it a year where the weather,
Yeah.
and it'll absorb more in, it does
That's
a better
what
job.
I thought the gentleman that came and presented to us said that it
And
actually,
that's-
their studies showed that it was actually better to wait a
that-
year.
yeah.
I thought that's what he said, but now is that 85 covers everything that we paved this year, including the parking lots, or just the
No,
streets?
Not the parking lots.
Are we going to do the parking lots?
That's a good question.
We didn't have it in the budget to do it. I mean, we can get a quote.
I think we need to look at
First-
that. I
well,
mean,
we can do
we
it
just
first
sunk
year.
a ton of money into those, and I think we need to preserve them and
The only thing I don't like about it is, and I talked to the guy, what was his name, Zach? Zach Hill. I said, I see you did Lane Street, but I see that's ruined the striping to a degree. He said, oh, in time it'll wash off. Well, it hasn't washed off yet. It still looks pretty dingy to me. So maybe after the winter with some snow on it, I don't know, maybe it'll come back.
And
It's not
if
so
you're gonna
dull.
talk to them, maybe ask them this question. Looking at the parking lot, don't put it on where the stripes are, but put it on where everybody's going. I don't know if that's an option, if that
I'm not too
maintains.
sure how it goes down.
Yeah, the way it comes out of the
Sprays.
truck, it'd be about impossible.
Okay.
Sprays. Yeah.
So in other words, in that instance, we would wanna, if we did the parking lots, they'd almost need to be repainted again.
Well, we'll see what Lane Street looks like after the winter.
Yeah. See if they can give you some references of people that have done parking lots and maybe see if they felt it was worth their money too.
But also, anyhow, the striping on the parking lot isn't as important as the center street. If you can't see that when you're in the parking lot, that's, I'm sorry, you just can't see very well. I mean,
Shouldn't be
I can see lanes, what he was saying, I don't have any problem seeing the street, and you're talking a parking lot, I wouldn't worry about repainting.
I'll just get a cost from him and ask him
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
if people have done parking lots.
Yeah, okay.
Building maintenance, we dropped it to 10,000. Training and education, we upped it 500 to 750.
And that's for,
Send them to science school or any type of schooling you want to send the employee to in the street department.
okay.
Was that any of the mosquitoes for any of them? Jeff?
What's that?
Was that with any of the mosquitoes?
Yeah, that could be mosquito too, yes. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this last year, when Brian Schuster passed away, he was the only one that had a mosquito spraying license. So that put us in, we kept putting it off and kept putting it off. Oh, we're not getting any complaints and
Oh.
nobody had a license to spray.
You didn't get any direct complaints.
Yeah, so we kind of slid through this year, but we had to.
Yeah.
But yeah, but Brian was our only person.
Right, which,
So I think we got that covered now, so,
okay.
Hopefully.
yeah.
Operating incidentals, lowered it to 12,500. Street materials is for the sealant for my seal machine so I can seal the streets, cracks and stuff. That's different than what up above there.
And that's a new line that Joyce created for this.
Okay.
Since it was, as you can see, there was nothing in 2021 for that.
Bridge repair, we still have the Poplar Street Bridge yet. The repairs for that, plus a North Sandusky Bridge, the decking on that, it's
Did I
got some
forget
issues
to
right
add
now, and the
That's
state
fine.
tells me that's my problem.
That 100% our problem financially?
Yeah, for the
Nice.
decking of it. So Poplar Street and North Sandusky will have those issues taken care of next year, and we just carried over the money that we didn't use.
This year.
So that 200 is gonna cover Poplar and Sandusky?
Yes, it should, yes.
So I kid you not, I just got a text about Mary Street.
I just asked about that before the meeting.
Yeah, well, yeah, Jim wasn't here yet,
Yeah,
so go ahead and
another
throw
month.
him in.
Yeah, it should be, he's got to do some sealant on it, and he's hoping the weather conditions improve for that to happen.
Temperature.
So I've kept it closed longer just for that reason, so he won't have to go ahead and clean it again and start over. So I'll know more this week what's going on with that.
I'll tell him not to worry about it, to keep driving around it.
Sorry, Jeff, I didn't add that Sandusky Street to that line. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Communication equipment is two-way radios, change over to digital. You've probably seen the other departments where they had that put in there. That's $10,850 for the street department. New operating equipment is going to be $37,500. It's down quite a bit compared to previous years. We got a John Deere tractor with a blade on it, with a rototower on the back that we can use for all seasons to clean the sidewalks uptown, help clean the in front of all the buildings uptown.
To fit down the sidewalk. And
Is this the 30, okay, got it.
Then the berm, tiger berm is a deal I can put behind a tractor, and instead of putting more stone down beside the road and bring it back and use the same stone that's there.
Yeah, poles it up, yeah.
Good idea.
In the past, I've used the county to do that, or I just have, if they're busy, I had to put new stone down. New vehicles is another assault truck, Freightliner, 100,000, Henderson body plow, salt and spreaders, 98,000. That's went up quite a bit.
keep one.
That's, usually that's around 160, 170. And it's jumped up quite a bit this time. Street improvements for, got the bill and paid, which council already paid the $1.6 million for 3 years. We're gonna continue that. I believe you guys already had that list. It was given to you for 21, 22, and 23.
Yeah, was that finalized, or is that?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
it's finalized, yes. Arrowhead, we're gonna finish that out where we started at 2 years ago. Ricky Lee, we're gonna do 150 foot of that. That's the original part of the road where it's crumbling away. The other part to the south, the concrete's good yet. A little bit of curb line here and there, and it needs some attention, but I'm gonna try to save that. Another Woodlands, the same replacement type, concrete street, just gonna replace the whole thing, get curbing and asphalt in there. Then painting and striping, 20,000, that's just like they did a week ago, they did some of the striping in town for us.
So that comes out of the street fund, correct?
Yes, all that's street fund, yes.
All right.
I was gonna shut their door, but they're.
Yeah, they're finishing up, yeah.
And the next one's Parks Department. We'll have 3 full-time employees out there during the summertime. So that's 65,000. Electric, we upped a little bit to help cover, just in case. I think it was bumping pretty close this year, wasn't we, Jeff?
Yeah, well, we've, just this month, we got our electric bill for the park. And for some reason, a couple of our accounts got switched from, our program that we have with Constellation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And, the one bill doubled, and here it got switched back to AEP. And we're paying like 10 cents a kilowatt. So I got our broker working on it and trying to figure out who authorized that. Because our AEP bill is like this thick, and it lists every address, and it'll tell you it's Constellation, Constellation, Constellation. But we had 2 or 3 of them that got switched back to AEP. And I don't know if this is
That's
one
because
of
I
them.
put a new meter in,
It
a new
could
account.
be, it could be, but I don't think the big meter is the pool. And that all funnels through the pavilion, if I remember right, is that right?
No, the pool's to
Or is
the
it? No,
pole
I'm
to the,
sorry.
to the east. Ball fields and the pavilion is one right next to it. Then we got the other one for all the shelters and stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, hopefully we get that corrected, that might be part of our problem, with the electric going up 3,000, but,
It went up 3,000 for 1 month.
No, for the year.
Oh, for the whole year, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't scare us.
So,
Yeah,
so
be scared.
we'll look into that, but on the safe side, we better put 28.
And what happened out there, I put a new meter in for the bell tower and the shelters and all that, and took one down that used to be for the gazebo and the bell tower, combined them all, so maybe that has something to do with
Yeah,
what happened there,
well,
Jeff.
they're working on it right now, so hopefully we get it fixed.
And are we done with the whole project of putting everything underground? that
Yes.
you were gonna do, okay.
Everything's fine. Yeah, phase 3's done. Yes. Outside contracts, excuse me, I got it bad. Mulch, 10,000. The grinder pump is for down below at the ball field. We're trying to get a system put in there so that actually I don't have to take my sewer truck down and clean the pit out. It continued to burn up the pumps in the past because nobody would pay attention or the flooding would happen. Lynn McKeever came up with an idea, I'll put a control panel on the building itself, and 2 grinder pumps, and basically an alarm will shut off at a certain time and all that, and basically the cost of around 5,000.
Oh, so that's the extra 5,000 then?
Yeah, that's the extra 5,000.
Gotcha.
Next one's Friendship Bridge maintenance.
Oh, what about other?
Oh, I missed that, sorry. Yeah, the other maintenance is, people's been complaining about the tennis lights out there, so I had Keeses go out and look at it, see what it would cost to upgrade them. And it wouldn't be LEDs, because they're not on that much. The cost would run it up so much. They thought they could do just update them around $4,500.
All 3 sets of cords.
No.
No, well-
Just the tennis courts.
Just 2 courts.
Be the tennis courts itself.
Not the pickleball.
There's no lights for the pickleball at all right now.
Those folks come out in the mornings. I mean, tend to be older and they're retired. For some reason, it's not really a sport that people are picking up. Maybe they probably will eventually. We could probably address that eventually.
I've seen 18, 20 people out there.
Oh, they had
It's amazing.
34,
Yeah.
34 people. I don't know.
I just wondered if we did provide lighting, if they were get more use in the evenings, I don't know.
We should certainly maybe look into that next year, getting the price on them.
We'll check with that group.
Yeah.
Most of them are locals.
Jeff, what do you think our return on investment would be if we did upgrade to LEDs? I mean, the increased cost versus saving on bulbs and saving on electric, are we looking at probably 10, 20 years to realize that savings, or?
No, yeah,
Don't use that much.
just don't use them that much. The cost, I mean, yeah, you take for years to even see a return on it.
Hello, Joey.
And the other one's Lions Park, $3,500, and we got some lights out there we gotta straighten out. And Jeff, you got anything else you wanna add to that one?
No, we were gonna put some security lights up too.
Security lights and stuff like that.
At the north building, at the softball field. And then the Little League's pretty well taken over the south field for the majority of the season. And they had some money left from a grant. They're putting up lights. They're also talking to me about maybe putting up a batting cage down there. So the Little League they've done a lot of good things here. They had a fall league, and I mean, they put on that Tommy tournament or whatever it is and bring 40 teams or whatever from all over the states. And I mean, people really like our park. So and for security reasons down there, because Lions Park, they seem to like break into everything.
Break into everything.
Yes.
Well, they started a fire. They started a fire in the north building. They broke out we put new windows in. League paid for them, and I bet they weren't in a month, and they broke them out. So I mean, it's
Gotta get
just
some type of lighting up there to,
deter them from.
Lighting, maybe some cameras.
And some
Yeah.
cameras.
Could break the cameras.
Kinda hard to get to them when they can't reach them.
Yeah.
Friendship Bridge, maintenance, the inspection's $4,300 a year.
Good Lord.
And Kelly's shopped around, done her part to find somebody that's cheaper, and we come down to one person that'll do it. And that's that same group every time.
And that has to be done yearly now.
It has to be
right?
done, yes.
By our insurance company. Yeah, well, we would know that.
I just couldn't remember if it was
sorry?
annually or biannually or.
Can I do it for
That seems still
300?
lower than what they charged us the last time.
Are you certified?
Kelly, what was the
I
initial
thought it was
cost on the
$8,000.
What's it take?
That's a lot of letters off
5,000
your
something the
name.
first time?
Well, it might be because
Yeah,
it was more thorough.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
right
okay.
around there.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeff and I have the report back, so if you guys would like to see the report on it, I mean, Jeff's done a real good job getting everything like up to, I mean, we didn't, just to give you a little bit of a history, we didn't actually know that the city owned the bridge. And, you know, kudos to the groups that went out there and stained it and stuff, but, you know, they could only stain where they could reach.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, he has Crawford Construction here, because they need to get the bucket truck in, and they need to get up underneath of it and all that. But we've actually talked about doing some things, because, like, one of our ratings is fair, which is still acceptable, you know, because they have, like, these bridge and ODOT inspection, I don't know, like I said, I should let you see this inspection report. We're still perfectly acceptable.
Right.
But had we not been doing all of this, trying to find an engineer to do this inspection when that kid
Drove through it.
Yeah, tried to drive onto the bridge, had I not had all the emails that I had, you know, trying to find this company, our insurance wouldn't have actually covered it.
Yeah.
But they said, well, since you actually were actively trying to find somebody, we will cover it. And it was just like, we were like, phew, on that one, because, you know, I mean, how long did we work on that?
Oh, gee.
I mean, but to actually find Panoni that actually is doing this is.
You mentioned sharing the inspection report. That might not be a bad thing to throw at Public Lands and Buildings Committee at some point, just so they can
Okay.
look at it.
Okay.
Share it. It doesn't have to be immediately. It could be next year after the
Yeah,
new council.
which is fine, but yeah, I mean, it's good just to see it, and they do a really nice job, really good photos, and, you know, real good description of that bridge.
So the inspection's 4,300, repairs is 37. Of that 37, 1,500 is for Crawford Construction. And the others are just whatever we need throughout the season to maintain it. Incidentals is 5,000 instead of 14,000. Park, new equipment's 10,000. Went down 697. Any questions on that?
I got a couple of parks questions.
Okay.
What's our long-term plans for restrooms? Do we have one yet?
Well, no and yes.
Well, and I think I brought up to you in the past, the restrooms that Galleon put in, they're a one-piece
Yep.
concrete
Yeah.
deal that they were able to lift off the truck, set it in place, plumb it, and, you know, and as I sit and think, we keep having recurring problems with vandalism. They built a restroom that guys in prison can't destroy. You know, obviously, it's gonna cost us a lot more than going and getting a toilet or a sink at Lowe's. But I just think we need to start developing a little bit more of a long-range plan. That's one of the biggest complaints, anything park-related
Yes,
that we
yes.
get. And you know
That
that,
was-
you probably feel
yeah.
more of the complaints, but that's the biggest complaint
Right.
that I, as a council member, receive from people, is our restrooms.
Because they're
So, yeah,
locked
we were-
up and
here's-
they can't use them.
Here's part of the plan, still talking about the other part, we're just talking about that the last couple of days. We did, have enough money left, in our fund. We had like $5,000 left, so we got a price for new toilets.
Which fund?
Cares.
The CARES.
CARES Act.
I get them all confused. So what we did is we got a quote from Halls to replace all the toilets and get them, because they have automatic flush. And so we'll get them all upgraded. And then we were talking about, we gotta do something with the floors, because the paint keeps chipping off. So I think as we work on that, we'll have to come back to council and say, hey, this is what we'd like to do in the bathrooms, but we'd also like to do it in the pavilion. Because the paint chips off of there too. But we
Yeah,
haven't got them numbers
I
yet.
think when Galleon did those, if I remember right, it was about 54,000 per unit, and they did 3 units with 3 different locations in town.
We don't have the money for that.
Yeah, we don't.
But
That's
we're
part
also-
of,
Park does not have
if
it.
I could speak to that, that's part, I didn't think quite the timing was right on the Parks levy, which I proposed to council last year, so I'm gonna introduce that again, hopefully get on the ballot.
Yeah.
If council approves. And then one of the things will be, obviously, the main thing would be new
Yeah, I mean,
restrooms.
Lions
It
Field
is-
needs something too, and I think
Yeah.
we could stand to have a second facility somewhere at All Miller that, you know,
So,
I think, I get it, you know, There's
Well-
only so many dollars to go around, but I think
Yeah.
that as we talk about the things that are important to us, and we've been, talking about the quality of life and improving the parks,
Those
I
are
think
important.
that's where we need to start.
You gotta have the park, I mean, the parks have gotten a lot more use since COVID started. I think those are habits that people are gonna continue with. So we have some ideas for park improvements, just coming up with funding, And, like I said, by the time you get to general government and police safety, safety
So you
forces.
say you're looking at replacing some toilets. Are we looking at anything a little more sturdy than just another ceramic toilet? Or, I mean, are we looking at anything
Jeff
metal
got-
stuff?
Jeff
or-
got the-
There's be the ceramic ones is what they'll be.
We haven't anybody destroy the ceramic ones, have we?
No, we haven't had that part destroyed, no.
See, I thought that was one of the issues I'd heard in previous years.
No, I don't
Well,
think-
Lions Field did years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
They did break those out.
The first year I was here in 12, we fixed both those bathrooms up, and within 2 months,
Yeah.
they were
Sure.
laying on the floor, sinks, urinals, broke them,
Yep.
brand new. So we just locked the doors. We are looking at fixing one bathroom up, and that's why there's a porta pot out there, and they would only be open during the use of the ball fields or tournaments, or if somebody has a special event out there,
Right.
that they would have a key to go unlock it and have it open for that event, but after that, they'd get locked again. Because we just, sad to say, but out there, but cameras would be something we should look at. Maybe you prosecute a couple people, maybe that will help. So we're working on it slowly, so.
Until the next generation comes up.
And then the other park-related question I have, I was asked this morning by someone. The disc golf course. There's a lot of trees apparently that need some attention in and around the disc golf course, and I don't know if you're aware of them.
Oh, you're talking about in the woods?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did some work on that,
Okay.
yeah.
I said I would bring it up, and
No,
this
yeah.
isn't probably the most proper place, but as we talk
haven't
about
been in
the
the
tree
woods.
budget and things,
Yeah, I haven't been in the woods for a couple months.
Can I just ask him to call you directly, and then maybe?
Yeah, have him call me directly and
Because
let
I
me
have
know.
a feeling if you knew about it, you'd address it.
Yeah, we did. The ones we called, we dressed those,
Okay.
this spring had those taken
All right.
down.
Yeah, the guy that usually coordinates all the disc golf tournaments out there, he'll call me 2 weeks ahead of time and say, hey, there's a tree down in front of
Yeah.
hole number 12 or something in the woods. We'll go out and just chop it in half or in thirds and move it out of the way for him. So usually I get phone calls, but yeah, that's
I'll
fine.
pass it on.
Them
Have
call,
them
I'll
reach out
walk
to
the
you.
course too. It gets a lot of use, probably how many people play that.
Yeah.
Disc golf.
Okay.
That was a good idea, whoever put that in. Was that Roger's idea?
Disc golf, it's been there before that.
Before that? either?
Oh, yeah, I went in when Dan and Sid were here.
Oh, okay.
Then they came
Well,
back
somebody
later.
spearheaded the whole project
Yeah.
and raised funds for
That's
it,
great,
and
Then they came back.
some of your crews put in the concrete pads for
Concrete,
the tees
yeah.
and,
Came back and did the concrete later.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, I guess.
Anything else, Kevin?
No, those were my 2 questions.
Okay.
On to pool.
Pool, I guess. Telephone, they upped it, $300 to $700. Other maintenance, we raised it $100. Incidentals went up 1,000. Pool, food part is, I guess Jeff, you can speak on that more than I can.
Yeah, we just raised it 1,000 just to make sure we didn't have to come back to you.
Now, is that enough based on what we had this year where you had to come back?
Yeah, I think we'd be fine.
Okay. I'd rather give you enough now
Yeah,
than
no,
come
I
back
think,
and adjust it later.
no, I think we'll be good.
And you can see that we raised the chemicals 8,000. And we've coming back. Weather conditions mean a lot, how many people use it. It's one of those, you gotta get a balance of how many people's using it, the weather conditions.
Rain screws it up,
Yeah.
hot sun
Sun
screws it up,
screws
kids screw it up. Bodies in the pool change the pH, you know?
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that. We'll just leave it at
Yeah,
that.
just leave it at that, yes.
New operating equipment, we upped it for 4,500, and mainly just in case, I guess, is the reason we've done that. Pool repairs, we put it right at 10,000 where it was 7,300 before.
Is there repairs you're anticipating, or is that more of, again, just in case?
Just
or-
in case, I think.
I mean, I hope
Yeah, I
that
mean-
everything should still be working as if it was brand new.
And the only difference this, next year, we'll have, the parks employees actually go out the first thing in the morning and check the pool every morning. Instead of having the pool, people come in early, those guys are out there 7 days a week. So they'll check the first thing to see if everything's okay, up and running, and then they take it over there.
Add water or whatever.
Since they're gonna have 3 full-time park employees out there this year, or next year, if that's.
Next year, yeah.
That's part of that.
So filters come
Well, we
under
plan.
chemicals, or
What's that?
filters come under chemicals? Filters, pool filters and all that?
Well, that's the sand filters
Yeah,
and
it's a
stuff, yeah.
permanent filter, you don't have to change
We
pieces
back
out.
flush them is what we do.
Okay.
There is a screen in there, it's not actually a filter, but we pull that out, and that's all where all the hair and stuff goes into, and miscellaneous papers and stuff like that, so it doesn't go through the pump. Then everything after that goes through the sand filters, and you just gotta flush it when the pressure gets to a certain point. Well, that should be the pool then.
Just quick on the telephone, Kelly, you had mentioned that we might see a reduction since we paid off. Why? Is there something different?
Actually,
That's a cell phone.
oh, yeah,
That's
the
Joyce.
cell phone changes it, but we have paid the phone system off. And at one point, I had it spread across all the departments, and my person at the state didn't like that very well. She says, pay it all out of one place, and
Gotcha.
then we can do a reimbursement back if we need to.
Okay.
So the contract got paid out of our general contracts, and it was just part of the reimbursement, back to the general
I
fund.
gotcha.
So, but it's paid off now. So these lines didn't really drop, but
So do we
that-
not have a landline there?
No.
No, there's no landline at the pool.
Why not?
Because it's very expensive to have it on for the summer and off
Okay.
in the winter.
So what do you-
They were charging us an arm and a leg, weren't
Yeah,
they,
I
to
don't
do
remember
that?
what it was.
I can't, it was like
Where
$600
this-
or something.
Yeah, this is different than what we have here, because we have one port in the copy room that all the phone numbers, we pay for one phone number to CenturyLink now instead of 20.
Right.
So that's where we had the savings, but we had to buy all the equipment to get all that, and the phones, and so we knew when we got it paid off, the phone numbers up here that go to that system, we would have a reduction, but the pool wasn't one of them, so.
I guess just having done that job in the past, that I'd rather see, I could get it if it costs more, I'd rather see a permanent phone there, so you don't have to, if you have an emergency, where's the
Yeah.
cell phone? Did the cell phone get accidentally taken home in somebody's pocket? Did it get dropped? Did it get
What?
uncharged, you know?
Well, we've been doing the cell phone for years.
It's probably been 4 years, hasn't it? 5?
Oh, yeah, anyway,
Yeah, been doing the cell phone.
yeah. All right. Have you guys gotten any phone calls from anybody calling there or not getting a hold of somebody for the pool?
No, I've not heard about that. I was just more thinking
No,
from the
no, that's
safety
okay, I
side
was
of
just
it.
asking.
No.
Oh, and everybody that's out there has a cell phone in their pocket somewhere.
Even the ones swimming.
Yeah.
I've done that before.
Me too. Rice does not help.
Okay, I guess before I go to sewers and drains, we'll go to the county sewer maintenance.
Oh, yeah, sorry, on Jeff's, I did not put the county sewer on his, so if you go to your big one, and that
Page
will be.
5.
Page 5.
I'll be honest, I'll let Jeff probably handle most of that because he deals with. The last one's mine, so I'll let you speak.
Oh, well, basically, as we took those over, we had to start creating abundance of line items for us to pay the electric bills, and then, the generator at the,
Tim Wood went over
Yeah.
most of all this.
yeah. So, so we have the electric, we have outside contractors for Lindler and Morton for the generator, so he put a little money in there. And then operating incidentals, we came up with 8,000, it's just a shot in the dark. Seems how we just took them over. And then same with the equipment maintenance. You know, if we gotta replace anything, we gotta have some money put in the fund so we can go fix it if something breaks down. So this is a learning year for us to have all year to kind of see where it goes and see how much they cost us. on the good note, if there is one, we have Jennifer and Jeanette working on a grant to put some lift stations in for both, for Morton and Lindlair, to pump into town and go into our sewer. And then we'll be able to get rid of those two.
You shut the plants down, go
Yeah.
to lift stations, and that sends forces it, the force main comes to Timkins out there at that manhole.
And
So
that'll be a
she's-
lot cheaper to
Pardon?
maintain, a lot cheaper to
Yeah.
maintain.
Tim wouldn't have to go out there daily.
No
then.
testing.
Manpower,
Pay for
electric, I would say with a force main would probably be about the same as what the plants are costing you electric. You know, maybe even less, I don't
Yeah.
know. So,
So we're working on that too with her and, trying to figure out how to get that done. So
You think that's like a 2 to 3 year process?
I'd say a minimum of 2. I'm gonna, she's just started working on it in September, October. And he can tell you about the manhole.
yeah, Lynn Lear out there, the manholes are concrete. Some, on the west side, they're all buried. Out in the field, they're buried. So there's no way I could maintain the system if I wanted to. Today, we just ended up out there as a concrete manhole. You send one guy out, there's no way he can lift that concrete.
Right.
So I want to get rid of the concrete, put metal ones in where the lids have got on it. I got a magnet you put on it and lift it off. So I'm looking at around $7,000 just to do that development. Then down the road, we'll look at Morton subdivision. Sugar Grove should be metal ones already, since that's a newer system. But we got to get this to a place that you can actually get in there if somebody calls in a complaint.
Okay, that should be all in that part.
All right, and sewers and drains is the next one. And the first one's outside engineering. Be able to do our mill and pave operations in town, we have to take care of what issues are underneath the streets first. So underneath the engineering on Mary Street, I have some catch basins that's not separated yet, that needs to be separated. So I want to do that before we do the mill and pave, which it goes down here, it says CSO 13. I give the CSO number for each one, what it would help out or actually do away with maybe in the long run. So we got Mary Street, CSO 13. Willard Street is a CSO 9 to help it out. That would never be done away with, but it would take flow away from it. Mansfield Bridge manhole. If you guys look in where Lynn had it cleaned out this year, we see that manhole sitting right down where it floods and goes into the system every time, interceptor. I'm gonna get that manhole up above where it belongs and seal that up so the river's not going into it all the time. West Warren Street is just some catch basins we gotta add and separate up there for CSO 18. All that adds up to $22,000, and we're gonna divide it by 2 to stormwater and sewers and drains pay for those projects. That's the engineering part. CSO 17, we're not so much gonna do the work next year, but we're gonna start engineering because of the weir down there is in bad condition. And plus, we want to put some type of device instead of a manhole to keep the river from flowing back in. So we're going to start the engineering next year on that, which is a cost of $8,500. And we'll split that, be another $8,500 underneath the storm.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm not being, because I didn't know until I started working here. You wanna, I mean, this they all know. You wanna explain what a weir is?
Actually, the weir's, you got the invert, the lower of the pipe, the bottom of the pipe, you got a weir that the water hits and turns. As soon as the flow picks up and the system can't take it anymore, it goes up over it and goes right into the river. Then that's where the flap gate comes into it, which is metal on metal. So if the river decides to come in, then it goes over the weir the opposite way and puts in your system. So Tim ends up treating what he shouldn't be treating. So he can have it from both ways, going into the river and coming back in. This middle flap gates just don't do the job. And we're installing 3 of them, hopefully by March of next year, for 3 of the CSOs now. And hopefully I can do another 3 next year.
This is part of the EPA issue that we've negotiated.
Yes,
with, too.
yeah.
We'll get credit for this.
Yeah, but anything we do for the system, we keep track of. Even like the mill and pave, if I change out manhole lids that got holes in them, I keep track of them, turn them into Arcadius, and they put that down as a plus for us. It might not be, it might be a very small plus, but we're actually
It
doing
all
something.
adds up.
Yes. Next one's outside contracts.
This is the one, Mayor.
Yes. We have some good news today. We applied for, actually, our partnership applied for a grant for the City of Bucyrus, excuse me, with ODNR, for completing a pass from Unger Park. And just heard today that we got it, about $50,000. Now, some of it's going to be used for improving, as you go for Friendship Bridge, we're going to be turning to the left and completing, go through Unger Park. In that first part of it, though, I'll let Jeff elaborate. There's CSOs down there and manholes that we need to be able to get trucks back in there. So that's going to have to be not your typical path. So we're going to have to put a little bit more of our money into, put a base in.
Any of these walking paths or anything needs to be used for two things, for enjoyment plus to maintain your system. So we have not been able to get our trucks back in there to maintain these manholes or the CSOs back in there. If you do, you drag stuff back through there when it's not wet and try to get in there. Most of the time it's wet. So I believe Lyndon McKeever's looking into this. And that grinding pile out there that we had, the 1s and 2s laying out there, some 411s laying, the 304s out there, and the grindings. Lynn was talking about using all that for the base for that to help with the cost of it. And I think that's going to be our part, Mayor,
That'll be our part.
our part of it.
Yeah.
Then it would be paved,
Then
Yeah, they'll be paid.
so it'd be wide enough for your equipment, maybe just have
Yeah.
the locking poles there at the end to keep a teenage kid from driving down.
yeah, you would have to have something to lock it so you could drive.
It could happen.
And it would happen.
Really?
But that'll all be,
It would happen.
that'll all be completed. You know, it goes up and makes a turn, and goes to Unger Farm up to Nevada Winford Road there, so.
Are we
it'll be
looking at
next-
that, all that being done over the next calendar year?
Yeah, the grant, yeah, should be next calendar year.
Okay.
The grant was just received, partners just let me know.
And it's the 25,000,
No, they got about 48,000.
48,000?
And then some, there's other monies,
But there's a share we'll have to.
Yeah, our share is gonna be, you know, it shouldn't be any more than 25 on
I
that.
was saying,
So,
we
yeah, we
had
have to
50
get-
in there, Joyce told
We
me
have
to
to get
add
estimates
25.
on.
So we're changing that line to 75,000.
Yeah, we have to get estimates of what all that's gonna cost. We just put 25 in there today. I let Joyce know, I think, what was gonna happen. And
So where's this gonna start and where's it gonna end?
It's gonna start right there as Friendship, you come across Friendship Bridge.
Okay.
And it's gonna turn left. It goes all the way down to
CSO 26, I
the
believe.
west, yeah, 26, and makes a turn back. And then it goes up a hill, and then
You're
curves
gonna follow the
around.
river, is that?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, we'll
The
follow the
sewer
river.
system, Interceptor follows the
Yeah.
river back through there, so
Yeah,
I want to keep that as close to the manholes as we can, so we can pull the sewer truck up if you have to, be able to, you know, clean the sewer that way, put the suction tube down in, and all that, and make sure the thickness of the road holds the sewer truck.
Is the path from, that's already in All Miller that goes back to the bridge, is that,
And that's where I
That's
gotta,
not-
I didn't think that
this-
was-
This is all new.
yeah.
This is all new path, yeah.
well,
If they
right,
can't,
but-
if they
Yeah.
But how do
can't,
they get to it without coming through
How do you
All
get the- how do you
Miller
get the
on
truck
that
to it?
walking path? You can't
well, we
take
have
it
to go
across
around the
Friendship
bridge to
Bridge.
get to it.
Oh, okay, yeah, you have to go, no, you won't. You'll come through All Miller and drive back
Yeah,
there.
All
Yeah.
Miller.
That's what she's
Yeah,
saying, the
that's what I'm
current
saying.
path
The
that
current
goes
path,
from the
is
ball
that-
field
Oh,
to
that's
Is
the
that
right.
bridge.
heavy
Okay.
enough for the trucks?
So you're
Or
staying
are you
on-
gonna be breaking it up when you take a sewer back?
Well, it's not like we use it daily, but we have been back there with the sewer truck and front end loaders and stuff since that road's been put in. I would say if we ever repave it, we should rethink it
Well, that's another
and make sure it's
thing where-
thicker, Joyce.
Yeah,
So everything's on the north side of the
that's
river?
what I'm wondering.
Is
It's
that what
like,
you're saying?
you
Yeah, that's
can't
on the
just
north side to that
hop
point.
across the river.
Okay.
But if you go back the other direction, it goes to the east side of the river.
Yeah,
It goes underneath the water. So that side, we're gonna be on the north side, but when you get back to,
Right.
like, here in town, up here by Sandusky Bridge,
right,
it's on the
right,
south side of the
right.
river then.
So where are you
This-
gonna cross, are you gonna cross the river somewhere or
No, the path, I guess,
just come in from a different
yeah,
direction?
yeah, coming from a different direction. As we're trying to get roadways into all the CSOs and interceptors so we can maintain the system. And it's on different sides of the river. And some of it's in between tracks you can't even get to right now. I'm working with Mark Quinn on CSO 5 and 6 right now, trying to get a roadway put in there so we can maintain that system.
But in this instance, we're able to provide a walking path.
So it's
And
a-
And
at
It's
the
a
same
win-win.
time, it is.
it's a
yeah.
win deal
I
for
like
both
it.
parties.
That path across Friendship Bridge and the Friendship Trail has been a real boon out there. People are
Yeah.
using that, and then, of course, the bike station at Rotary. I mean, it's, you get a lot of use out of it. It gets a lot of use.
Just off the, you're talking about the CSOs, what about the one on Mary Street and Papa? You said about you're having access, the survey and that is off and,
Yeah, we actually just talked about this last week, meeting out there, the mayor, Jeff Wagner, myself, and Landon, and so I can explain to them what's going on out there.
And the other thing is, it sounds like we're gonna try to take that house back there to land bank. Because they've already condemned it, even though there's somebody living in it. And we're gonna try to get it taken out of
No,
there.
I didn't know that.
No, we just found this out today.
Oh, okay.
If
We
the
were just
owner's
talking about it
willing to, the land bank would take it.
Yeah, I mean, in that way, we could clear all that out of there, we could reroute the alley a little bit, and then that way we'd have access. So it's gonna take a little while, but that's what we
Well,
talked about today.
Yeah, we're reaching out to the attorneys involved and, made that decision today,
Okay.
that, I would just question while we.
so. Okay, good
No, no.
question, good question.
Okay.
So you got your bike path. You got your bike path.
Well, that's one of them. The other one, yeah, we got that. I think it's great. I mean, I'm thrilled about that. But I want to upgrade the path, like Jeff talked about, that path too. And then.
Well, you put a purpose to it, so.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing,
It's hard to argue
Jim,
that one, yeah.
You can't argue.
What
There is
concerns
no
me out
argument.
there.
Dual
you know,
purpose.
And I mentioned this at
Yeah.
our presentation, how many people, how many strollers, how many kids are running on All Miller Park Drive. And, and we want to also have a plan to bring another path along the river, get those folks off of there so it's safer. We'll talk about that some other time. Yeah. so-
Okay.
As long as the path's on the same side where the CSOs are, you gain for both parties.
Right.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to clean that system,
Yeah.
so it works out, and put lighting up even.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's important. too.
That's important for us and the people walking, I
Yeah.
guess.
Right. Especially as crazy. as people
Equipment
are
maintenance,
these
we
days.
upped it $2,000 for sewers and drains. Training and education, we upped that $1,000 because we're gonna require the employees, as they bid into the department, to get their license now. After 18 months, they have to get to a class 1. That's something the EPA is gonna be shoving more and more, so we're just gonna start enforcing it now, where they have to have their license. Gas, oil, we just upped that. We're using more of it. Prices went up. And we'll probably come back and ask for more.
They dropped 2 cents.
Yes, it did.
National average, whole 2 cents.
It's-
OPWC manhole, that's something we carried over from '21.
Branded.
Communication equipments for the new two-ways, digital. New operating equipment, I didn't ask for any money in that line this year.
That's amazing.
Wait a minute.
That can't be me, can it?
No, no.
Oh, wait, the next line will tell you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do need a new truck, though. And I would share that with,
Don't you have a new truck? Somebody told me you just bought a new truck.
street department.
My sister said you could use that.
Can we borrow yours?
Sewers and drain truck would be a tool truck, and it's gonna be shared with stormwater and sewers and drainage, which would be, what, 42,000?
It's a
40.
little bit of it.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Says what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be 42,
Yeah, 42.
because half is paid by Storm.
Then the next one's the projects itself, not engineering, but Mary Street, the CSO 13 deal is $66,100. The Fuller Street, taking the storm up to the city garage up there is $129,000. Mansfield Bridge manhole is $29,300. CSO 18, West Warren is 60-some thousand for that. Then next year, what we was talking about, those check valves instead of flap gates, I'm gonna share that cost and do 3 more of them next year. And that's gonna be a total of 28,000, something like that, then we'll, divide that up between the 2 departments. And I'm gonna let Tim shoot. Tim actually checks the CSOs. I told him, I said, you let me know which ones you want those put in. You see it every week when you check them. You tell me which ones. So we'll decide at that time. And this cost could go down. We just did an average for what the cost was.
Okay.
Next department, solid waste department. Of course, the landfill expenses continue to go up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look at solid waste fund this coming year to do something. It's gotta go up a couple bucks or something. I mean, everybody around us is in the low 20s a month, and we're at 1685 or something, and it's, I mean, I'll call and get the new updated pricing from everybody around us, but, you know, that fund's running on shoestrings, and that landfill expense is just about ready to kill us.
We upped the equipment maintenance by 2,000 to 24,000. Of course, fuel costs again, gasoline, diesel, up that to 25,000. New equipment, again, it's the 2 ways again. We gotta upgrade them to digital. Any questions? Solid waste or?
How many two-ways are you getting?
6 departments right
6
here.
for
Yeah,
each
6
department? Okay, so
Yeah, the
6
street
of them.
department's got the most of them.
Okay.
How, looking ahead, I know we have the separate fund for it, but as far as garbage trucks, are we still several years away from needing our next one, or?
I would say we're 2 to 3.
No, we cut that, didn't
Yeah,
we?
we
We
only
cut
cut
it from
it in
$1 to
half.
50 cents.
50 cents went into the
I
fund
don't know
to
what's-
use.
I don't know
50
what's in the
cents
fund.
stayed for the new truck.
I'll tell you what's
Correct.
in it as of October 31st, sewage replacement. Solid waste replacement has 102,000 in it.
Yeah, by that time, you're gonna look at a truck that costs you 300 and some $1,000, you know?
Yeah, so you.
Well, maybe not quite that much, it'd probably be up or
But if
twos.
we adjust the rate to what you're gonna look at, we may have to
have to
raise that back.
Put
to-
that.
Well, we
so-
could put that
yeah,
50 cents
Put that
back.
50 cents back in.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
well, when we talk about,
We're
and
still
we'll
looking
adjust.
at, you know, if you're sending 60,000 bills out a year and you're doing 50, it's 30,000 bucks. It's gonna take a while, you know.
It takes a while to build it back up, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're putting about, what did I figure, 27,000 a year in it with only the 50 cents.
Yes, yes, so
So-
if we can,
So we have
54,000.
54,000 going, but
So that would,
that would give us, it would pay from, say, 3 years, 150, we'd have 250 then.
Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
So-
Just a thought, since you said, make sure you have that when you bring that to us.
That goes through service, right?
Service first, and then,
Yeah,
Is that something we'll look at after the first of the year?
yeah.
yeah, I think we need to.
Okay.
Next fund's a stormwater fund, outside engineering. We've raised it to 360,000. And of course, we got the Mary Street CSO 13 like we did in the sewers and drains. And it's basically the same thing, Wilbur Street, you know, Mansfield Street, West Warren Street. Total of them up is 22,000, 11,000 per department, sewers and drains and storm. Then we have the CSO 17 repair 2 that we're splitting. Outside contracts, 48,000, we raised it from 30. We have some areas, we got some issues in group 1, 2, and 3A where we still have some storm getting into the sanitary that we're gonna have to address. So it's kind of an unknown price at this time, what it's gonna cost. But we gotta get Ohio Mutual, that field taken out. We got the church that has their downspouts going into the sanitary. We have Weithman's building there where Geyer's used to be. The fairgrounds, I think I I might have one issue out there yet, just found out. But
So these are really things that weren't caught or weren't addressed previously? It's nothing that was fault of the people that did it?
no, it's the unknown stuff you don't find. You know, you smoke test, you do all that stuff, dye test, and you still, after you do a separation project, you still got more flow that you want, so you gotta start going back and
Where's it
digging into
coming
it.
from?
Yep, you just gotta dig into it more and more, and, we do the public separation, we don't do private separation.
Right.
So, you know, downspouts, you don't know how many pumps, some pumps are actually into the system, so you gotta go back and check, you know, if it comes down to it, the flow doesn't drop off, then you gotta go door to door. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? So this, I wanna put some money in there in case we got, we know we got some issues some places, I wanna get them corrected, you know, get them out of that system. Training and education, again, we upped it to 1,000 because of a license and stuff like that for the employees. Stormwater improvements, we lowered it down to 50,000 instead of 120. Then we're carrying over the OPWC money. And the interceptor, we're gonna carry over the 325,000.
Well, actually, we're just gonna carry over whatever the balance is.
Well, that's what it
Okay.
is right now, because we didn't spend anything in there.
I thought I did.
Well,
I didn't. Well, when I looked, there was 325 in there.
Okay, I was thinking he said he had something come through, but, okay.
That's
There wasn't
changed
even
it.
an encumbrance.
Oh, okay, well, then,
We'll have to look at
we'll
that.
carry over the 325?
And the reason we didn't do anything, because if I went in there and cleaned that system, it would put more flow to Tim Wood out there. And he doesn't need any more flow out there at this time. But we still have to find out, we got 5 river crossings to tie into the interceptor. So we gotta put bypass lines in, pressure test. So we're hoping to get that done next year. McKeever's is helping me out with that. And plus I got some roadways I was talking about, Quinn's ground. That would help take care of some of that money for that too.
Have we already done our application for OPWC for 22?
Yes, you guys did.
Yep, we
Which
just
one?
got awarded
What was that for?
185,000. It was for the Nevada water line.
Okay, that was the one you said you weren't sure if we would get it or not?
Yeah, well, we didn't know. And actually, if you look at the grading, because then it doesn't make any sense to me, the expansion of water lines is, you get less points. You get more points if you're doing water line replacement. But we were like at 50, we were near the bottom.
No, we were not near the bottom, we were the bottom.
We
We
don't
got
make it sound that bad.
185, and that's for just 1 year. We'll do
Yeah.
everything we need. We don't need to try to rely on that again next year.
Well, I think depending where we're at with the county water lines, we would apply for that again in '22. But I want to have Lynn, he's still capable of talking to people on the phone. I'm going to have him call down to the state and say, look, we're in the middle of this water line growth. We can't afford not to get this 185. To me, what's the difference? We're expanding our water out to the rural communities. Why can't
And
we
I
use
think that's
it?
what they want.
Yeah.
Yes, so why are we getting graded lower for that than replacing water
You
lines
just
that
need
are
to
old?
tell them we're replacing lines that aren't there.
So anyway, before we do the application for next year, whatever project we're gonna put it towards, I'm gonna try
Well,
to
you're
find
actually
out.
But we
replacing
are
wells.
replacing a
Yeah.
water
Wells.
source.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're replacing a water
Yeah.
source to Nevada, so that is a replacement.
Absolutely.
They should look at it that way. but-
That
Use the word
is-
replace.
Yeah, so,
As much as you can.
so anyway, we're working on that for next
Okay.
year already, talking about it, how we can make sure that we don't be at the bottom.
So, question, so this 185 means that Nevada's gonna get started?
They got 250 for them.
Yeah.
Was the
So the water line will get started approximately
Hopefully in the fall.
Yeah,
of next year?
in fall of 22.
We have it's called a SCIG meeting on Friday, with, we're gonna have it here with Nevada, and you sit in front of a panel, and they're all the different funding sources, and they're gonna ask questions, why are you doing it? What's the benefit? So it could last 2 hours, it could last an hour, but we're gonna meet at 12:30, and then it's supposed to last till 3 maybe.
Okay, one question also. I've been asked by several people who I work with who live in Nevada who are saying, what will they do if their thing fails before this comes through?
I don't
If their
think
system
it
fails?
will. It's
They're
been
on-
running, they're keeping it up, moving now. I mean, if something would actually quit running between now until we get water there,
They'd have to truck water into their tower.
yeah.
Is really the only
Yeah.
option they'd
I,
have.
that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said, you know.
So did
but-
they find another grant for their water tower yet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got OPWC
Awesome.
funding too.
Yeah, there was some issues with RCAP and getting reports filled out. The regional manager has now stepped in. Can't tell you his last name, his first name is Bud, but he's taking the bull by the horns, and
Good.
so they're getting things moving, and that's why we have this SCIG meeting on
Okay,
Friday.
all right. Okay,
So,
thank you.
Just for additional funding, just
yeah.
basically beg replacement.
And we did have
Kevin's gonna stand there with
a
cue
phone
cards.
conference call, I don't know, 2 months ago, maybe a month and a half ago with the EPA, and they're all for it. They think this is great, that we're gonna feed water to Nevada, and it's a good project, so. A lot of good news so far coming from them, and they've been very helpful. I don't know, we sent one form in 4 times, I think, by the time we finally got it right, or they got it right, you know.
Yeah, they've sent it to us and,
Sign this and fill it out and send it back in.
and we did, and then
Don't
they're
say
like, oh no,
that
we sent it to you
you're on
wrong.
camera.
No.
I'm not gonna say nothing about it. They were great. They were like, well, you need to change the wording on it. Well, you sent it to me that way, so.
We've had very good cooperation with the EP. I would like them to
Yes,
know that.
EPA has been super.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EPA has been wonderful. The Ohio EPA, he said, and the federal EPA, so.
Anyway,
So Stetzer's coming along pretty good?
yeah, they did ask for an extension due to the 8 weeks they had to wait on the pipe.
Okay.
So they got an extra 8 weeks to get done, but they're moving right along, so.
Everybody hooking up that said they was going to hook up?
Well, we haven't done it yet. Right now, they're laying the main, and then they'll come back
Come
and
back
start
and-
doing the
okay.
taps. And hopefully by then, we'll hear about another grant we applied for, so. Keep your fingers crossed.
Okay,
How did I know water department was gonna override my departments?
You've been here
We've been
too long.
spending millions of dollars on your department.
New equipment, same thing there, for the two-way radios, we put 1,800 in there for that. New drains, we, put 20,000 in for any project that comes up that we need it for. ODNR is the same thing that Lynn did underneath the bridge, we're gonna start trying to clean out some trees and stuff that's fallen into the river, and
And that money is able to come from the stormwater fund?
Yeah.
So, 2 questions I want to ask about that. Is 50 a year all that we're able to contribute out of that fund? Or do we have the capability to do more?
We have the capability at this point, except that we don't know what's coming with the wastewater plant.
So in essence,
We don't want
we're
to
being-
spend the
we're
money
being-
and then not have it for that.
Being conscientious of.
Yes.
Good enough. I won't ask my
Yes.
next question based on that
well,
answer.
I'm asking for quite a bit here for these streets to be
is.
done before mill and pave.
Right.
Then 23, I'll ask for another one for like, help me out here, what street is it? I just went blank. West Mansfield, East Mansfield, the one that Bruce Stricker always wants paid.
Highland?
No,
Oh, Penn.
Wayne,
Wayne, thank you.
That was close. That was one street off.
Wayne, we gotta do a separation project there, so in 23, we'll ask for the money for that, because that's on the mill and pave for that year.
Yep.
So we're gonna use try to use up a lot of funds here.
That's fine. I was just
Basically.
gonna suggest with what they did down there by the bridge was fantastic, and I was gonna say if we could bite off even more, why not? But I just heard why not, so.
Yeah, that's the reason.
well, we have to know what direction we're going before
the
we.
EPA, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know that we'll ever know that.
Oh, we should.
Well,
But
Well,
it'll
they'll
cha-
change
it'll
their
That's my
mind.
point, it'll
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
You know, with every 4 years, it's gonna change.
New vehicle line, that's the same as sewers and drains, we're, for a 2002 Ford truck, tool truck. Mary Street project, we talked about, sewers and drains. And all of them's the same down through there,
just a split, right?
just a
It's
split.
just a split.
Yeah, just a split.
so basically we double those figures.
Yes, yeah.
Jeff, did they happen to tell you how long you're gonna have to wait on that truck? I know that's been an issue worldwide here, countrywide with
Which
new vehicles.
one?
That-
The new
The
truck.
street department.
The tool truck.
Not even talked to them yet, until you guys okay the money, I don't actually go back and
just curious.
Yeah. Now, the one in the street department, you guys okayed the money for,
That's already been ordered, right?
it's ordered.
Yeah.
But nobody's told me anything yet. The Ford Motor Company hasn't told Reineke anything yet, when it's gonna be delivered. They might change it to a 23.
Hey, Jeff,
So I'm just on hold until they tell me something.
the price that we were quoted, are they locked into that then? 'Cause I know, I hear dealers are charging premiums now for shortage.
Well, but that's done through state bid, isn't it?
I just wondered how,
It's government pricing.
Yeah, so I don't think they can add a premium to that.
So they're telling me the price should be good on the Fords. The Chevy, for the same truck for Chevy, you're looking at added $10,000 to it. Because Chevy has no program for
For the state.
cities and states and stuff right now, so I have to go with the
I might
Ford.
drive a Chevy, but I own Ford stocks.
So, don't know when I'm gonna get my street department truck. It's been ordered, but nobody's told me anything.
thank you, Jeff.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Dunn?
Not specifically for him, I've got some overall budget questions.
Okay.
You can stay or you can go, it don't matter.
You be here?
No, not for my question, I just want to make sure anybody else, I don't want to jump in line in front of anybody else has questions for you.
You explained a lot to me earlier, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Kevin, go ahead.
Joyce, what's our timeline of getting all of this ready to be taken to council with legislation to approve?
Well, I've got it all in the computer. I just have to make final tweaks, and then I can get these out to everybody. Hopefully this week.
So you want us to refer this to
For legislation, yeah.
committee meeting on Thursday?
Well, it doesn't need referred for legislation, because that's what, it's already
I
been,
just-
it's already been
Already referred.
referred. That's why we're meeting in committee now.
I know, that's what I'm just
Yeah.
clarifying.
So we need to, this committee would need to request the legislation once it's done, and that's why I was asking when it was gonna be done, so that we could, I would like to look at it as a whole one more time before we request the legislation, that's what I'm getting at.
Okay. Well, I can hopefully, depending on what you tell me or any tweaks you want to make here tonight, I can probably have that for the committee meeting.
On the 9th.
Yeah.
Okay, and at that point, we could request legislation for the meeting on the 21st, and that
21st.
is okay with you? If it gets passed on the 21st, that's
Yeah,
okay?
yeah,
All right.
that's
That's what I was looking schedule-wise.
Just so I have enough time to prepare it, because I prepare that legislation.
Right.
So. And then I find, oh, I forgot this. Oh, I have this. Oh, I need to create this fund. Oh. So,
Kevin, you had asked me to put in a few things for council and council clerk. Those are on this newest one that you guys have.
Do you want me to explain those to you guys, Mark
Yeah,
and
you might
Jim?
as well, because you had said also for
Well,
Bruce.
do you want
Yeah.
to do your general admin first?
Sure, I can.
Then
if
you only
you
got
want
Page,
to.
right there at the bottom.
Yeah, if you go to the one that's pages 1 through 7.
Okay, yeah, I met with Jenny to go over some thoughts here. So under council for new operating equipment, again, we were looking at going to tablets. And so we took that from 5,300 up to 12,000. And what that does is get you either 9 or 8 tablets based on what we end up determining that the clerk is going to need, whether we go with a tablet for their clerk or whether we go with an actual desktop in here to be able to pull things up and make changes during the meetings. And then under council clerk, new office equipment, looking at replacing the desk and the chair. I can attest after sitting in there for the last couple weeks, just a few hours at a time, it's long overdue to be replaced.
God awful.
I honestly, I can't put my legs under the desk because there's a filing cabinet under the one side. You have to get down on your hands and knees to even reach the computer to plug a flash drive into it. It's not
God awful.
conducive to a good working environment. So I'm meeting tomorrow with Jeff Boer, who's gonna go through the catalog with us and come into the office, take some measurements, discuss what options we have, say, okay, we know we need this much, surface space for a desk, for a computer and a phone. We know we need this much filing cabinet space. And he's gonna be able to kind of put together a package of what would work for our needs versus the space we have there.
Also, we might want to let Jim know what we discussed about filing cabinets.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna move some, I haven't met with them yet to discuss it.
Right,
We're
but
gonna try
it's-
to move some of those filing cabinets into the back room to just create a little more space and make
Yeah.
that office. Yeah, I think I
More room.
talked with him about that too. So when we meet with Jeff Boer tomorrow, we might be able to reduce that number a little bit after he tells us what we're looking at cost-wise. And then we increase training and education from 500 to 1,500 because bringing in a new clerk, that gives us opportunities to do some other education. The Ohio Municipal Clerks Association, I've been in contact with them. She's actually going to come here several times. I think what we last emailed was it was going to be once a week for like 6 to 8 weeks in a row.
Oh, wow.
Great.
And that's free.
Fantastic.
We don't pay for
Wow,
that.
that's good.
But she has other people within her department that might be able to provide other training, and she says, I can't speak to them of what the cost is. She says, everything I do is free, but some of these other things might cost a little. And then we may have other opportunities to send the clerk other places to learn some things. So basically, we just decided to put a little extra in there. Don't know that we're gonna need any of it or all of it, but to be able to get somebody trained appropriately.
Been emailing
Janice.
with, I actually had her here when we did some parliamentary training. So she's phenomenal. She is, I totally recommend her, and I bet her and Kevin really do a lot of the communication, so.
So one of the things that I think was absolutely awesome in the last month, we stopped the meeting, dead, went and rewrote. We didn't get behind. If there's a problem with the notes, we could rewrite them right there. Now, would it be okay to go to the office, or would you like something in here?
That's kind of what we've started discussing.
And let's
we're
have
not-
a work environment here.
I was talking with Mr. Ostash and a few other people to be able to essentially put a workstation right there for the clerk that will tie into the clerk's office workstation so that they can pull something up right there,
print
make
it.
a change, hit print.
And
print
that's
out.
what I had said would have been very beneficial when I was council clerk, so I think that would be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's.
If we'd have been doing that for the last 2 years, we'd have never got behind.
Yeah, I think that's super important, and I'm glad that we're making that move. And here's the thing, we've had, over the years, we've talked about this, and they tried the computers in the past, and, you had a few people that didn't want to do it, and, by all means, if a council member says, I really don't want to do this, they don't have to, but I mean, when you look at the cost to purchase these, and we figure a 4-year lifespan for these tablets. So what's our printing cost over 4 years? How much are we paying in ink and paper
And
things?
rental.
It's actually gonna be a wash. It's gonna come right out pretty darn even to what we're paying now for all that printing. So we're not saving any extra money, but we're not spending any extra either, and I
And
think.
we're not creating landfill.
Well, and that's the thing, I noticed for myself, I'm guilty of this, when I'm done with a meeting, I don't always keep everything. I throw a lot of it away if it's stuff that I don't know that I'm gonna need immediately, because it has been emailed to us. And I said, well, if I need it again, I'll pull it back up. Well, with these tablets, you have the actual ability to pull up that PDF and do exactly what I'm doing here with my pen. I can make notes on that PDF and save it into the computer
Now you have
as
a
if I wrote
copy.
on it, and it's saved as the notes that I made with questions, changes, whatever. I think that's gonna be super
And
beneficial.
true, they need to take it, the councilman need to be able to take it home and work on it at home.
Yep, so we included the cost for each tablet having a mouse, a carrying bag, and 2 power cords. One cord that'll stay with the bag with them, and one that'll be permanently put in here so that you can plug it in when you get, and you don't have to come in 10 minutes before the meeting and get down and try to find a plug and all that, so.
Good idea.
Keep things running smooth.
Okay.
That'll be a change.
Welcome change.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm done.
Kelly, what page is yours on?
Mine's right above council.
We ain't done yet.
Joyce pretty much does my telephone. I mean, I left that for her. Outside contracts, we decided to lower it. The legal, public advertising, we brought it up a little bit only because we were gonna be doing the farmland bids next year. We might have a few more projects, so that's why we bumped it up. And gas and oil, we added money in it this year because people use the flex, like the fire department, they use it, the police department, they use the flex. So, and that's where, like, that money comes from, so that's really all I have in my department.
Okay.
And I can't
You got any
think of a whole lot
questions?
more.
No,
Kevin, you got any other questions?
No, I'm questioned out.
me too.
Question out.
Okay, if there's, you have any other comments for us,
Can you
Jeff,
think of any
Jeff?
other departments that
Nothing
we-
for me, what about you?
Not
Jeff?
really.
All this is gonna work with the money we have.
That's what she's
So
gonna
far,
do.
that's what I'm working on.
That's what we pay
And
her
so
for.
far, everything, everything's looking good. The general fund's a little shy right now, but the problem is I don't know what our year-end balance is gonna be. We still have POs to close and things like that, and when that bumps up, it's gonna shift, and I think we're gonna be okay.
I don't
But,
know.
but every other fund will have a little left over at the end, which surprised the heck out of me after all the money we've been putting in here. But here again, general fund, because of having police and fire in there and now EMS in there, we're not sure of the revenue on EMS, it's just a guesstimate as far as what we're gonna bring in. And we're trying to be conservative because we don't wanna overshoot and get ourselves in trouble. So, I've got a couple tweaks, in my budget, I was gonna put a little extra in, for some training, but I think I'm gonna take that back out because I don't think I can do that with Angela. So, and that was only about $4,000, so I'll just take that back out. Since you were gonna spend 12 on, tablets.
But we're gonna save on printing.
Well, just to reiterate, when I was council clerk and I had done some cost analysis, I figured in paper alone, it was $9,000 just in paper.
Annually? See, now, the number that I looked at, and I don't remember who provided it, but I think it may have been a question that Rebecca actually was able to look up. She thought it was much less than that. She thought that the printing and the paper together was probably closer to $4,000 a year.
Well, it could be, but from when Regina left
Yeah.
and what I was taking on, yeah.
I
that's
just think,
what it was.
we're going into year 2022. And we've got the ability to have all that at our fingertips, we can utilize documents on demand as council members a heck of a lot more, to where if I want to pull something up and look at it, I don't have to
True, we
hope that
didn't
the
have
clerk.
documents on demand.
I hope that the clerk, right now, I'm hopeful that the clerk thought ahead, printed something off and had it for me at a meeting here. I'm controlling my own destiny. I can print off open up what I need to look at.
Absolutely.
As far as income tax, I only bumped the salary up about $1,000. It just got a little padding in there for overtime, but my two clerks down there, they work well together, and they've been really killing it this year as
Yes,
far
they
as
have.
getting things done, and getting letters out and collecting money.
They're doing a good job.
So, expenses really didn't go up much there, and I actually cut back on refunds by a little bit too. Because we didn't have to shell out as many refunds as I thought we'd have to this year. So, I haven't looked at total numbers yet. Kelly keeps a spreadsheet on it, on what we're collecting through the Attorney General's office. I love that program they have.
It's gotta be
You know, we
better than
just
what we're
send
doing
them-
on our own, though.
Oh, yeah, and it doesn't cost us anything.
Right, that's-
Because they charge that taxpayer who didn't pay us. And, we brought in about 100,000 last year, and we're probably gonna be close to it again this year.
Fantastic.
And that's wonderful.
Okay.
We just gotta get the police department to serve the summonses on the people who, haven't filed. We have all these failed files, and they go downstairs and sit there.
So.
Well, we can't collect anything if we can't
You can't
get,
take it to the Attorney General's until they serve them.
they have to file so we know what they owe before we
Well.
can take them anywhere.
We brought
Can
it up
that,
to
can
them.
that be brought up in the union negotiations, saying, you serve these summons, it helps create over $100,000 income?
You got all the
We brought
equipment,
up
you just got all the
more than once.
equipment.
It's been brought up.
Many
But
times.
you gotta say,
And
is it called tit for tat, hey?
they don't like to serve them. I know.
They take a different look at it. They take a look at it as, we're going to the door, we're supposed to be the good guys of the city. Now we're gonna go and we're gonna pester people. Well, the way I look at it is, you're pestering somebody that's not paying their rightful money to pay.
Does it have to be served by an officer?
Well, we talked about that.
Could you contract that out the way that other legal, like, when somebody's getting served with divorce papers or wherever, that can be done with private service. Can these be done by private service?
They probably could. I mean, if Rob always talked about getting a process server, but then there was always, it never went anywhere.
Yeah.
To find somebody to do it, and,
They do a few and then they don't do any, then they do a few and.
yeah.
Well, there was a time, I know, after I started checking on the police reports, there were days that they had 10 or more of them. And I think it's just
So it's like
priority.
a competition.
Yeah.
Well, they do, once in a while, they'll do a competition, and then,
Yeah.
they serve them like crazy.
Who's our property maintenance guy?
Gordon.
Gordon.
Yeah, but he only has so many hours.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll give you more if you bring in.
Hire him and
$100,000 a year.
get him an assistant and make
We
that
can
part of
only
their
work
job.
so much.
Yeah, I mean, the point is, should we have to? I mean, that's what really comes down to.
It just, they don't seem to understand that this is money that pays their salaries.
Oh, so I was just gonna say, is there something we can do to make an incentive for them?
I'm with Mark. You
It's
know,
part of their
I had to
job, I
fight,
know.
I had to fight with the fire department about, not taking off during the Bratwurst Festival. And it got to the point when the mediator came in, and I told her, I said, so my management rights in the front of this contract don't mean anything. And she said, basically, if you want something, you get it in the contract. So, running towards Mark, then maybe we ought to make that part of the contract. You'll serve this many a month.
Should we
In
have
order
any-
to guarantee that you will get the money to pay you.
So we'll talk about that with Jonathan,
Yeah.
our attorney.
I'm just saying, it's been getting us around 100,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money
That pays for their overtime.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that pays. for their
Saying, it's like, look, gentlemen,
Yeah.
in order for you to get paid,
Yeah.
it's just like for me to get paid, we have to make the bearings. If we don't make the bearings, we don't get paid. Just like he don't make the light bulbs.
Mark,
you know.
We can't see.
you're thinking like a non-public world.
An
It
intelligent.
doesn't matter. You have to also think that way.
An
All right.
intelligent.
Anyhow,
The other,
Civil service, we did increase the physical line for cost, because, I think Joyce, we had to appropriate some more money in that line.
Well, I basically left the appropriation the same as last year. What I did, we just appropriated 6,000. I need Sharon to get me an idea of the bills so that we can do a PO, and that 6,000 will carry over, which will actually give us more money next year,
Right.
but it
Okay.
came out of this year's budget, so.
So
Yeah,
we're
we'll
not
be,
doing anything?
no, we're not doing anything,
All right.
no.
all right.
so
Panic.
why aren't we using the partnerships for more grants, Mayor?
Oh, we did. That's the second one they applied for. They
What
got,
was-
they got the,
EV.
got the EV for us. They took care of that. And that I found had over 200 vehicles have used that.
Really?
Yes, I mean, wow.
Wonder when they do that.
Of
course, I'm not up
I've
there.
I've seen it done twice.
I should have mentioned Jeff Dunn, because there was an issue after we paved there. Darn it, we forgot to mention that to him.
He already knows
Yeah.
about it. Already worked
Yeah,
on it.
we-
Well, I have a
Aaron
friend who
Stein
has
and
an
Jeff
electric
Already are
vehicle
all
that
over it.
Oh,
probably
you got it, okay,
uses
good to
it.
go, yeah.
We're
good,
already
okay.
on it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, and we use them for grants. That was kind of a collaboration between,
AEP.
no, that was AEP, and they took the lead on that. But the other one was from the County Parks Department too. Yeah, we'll be using them for grants, because whatever they seem to apply for, they get, so. yeah.
I would have never complained about them before if
Yeah.
I knew you were getting grants through them. That's
Yeah.
paying for
I-
themselves.
it's a-
See what I'm
it's-
saying?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not ideal, I mean, ideal, we would have our own economic, but we just can't afford it. I don't see it right now, I mean, what we get for our 50, we just got 50 grand for our 50 grand, and
Is it okay if I share a little of your and my
And we got
conversation?
94 grand for the
You got
EV
94
station.
for that, yeah.
So I went and asked some questions, and one of the things that I expressed to the mayor that I'd like to see as a council member is if we're authorizing paying $50,000 a year for something, I want a written report. And I don't need to take Gary's time away from him to come in an evening meeting
Yeah.
necessarily, but I'd like a quarterly written report. Just says if I'm giving you money and asking you to do something for me, I'd like to know what you're doing with it. And I think that's a fair, and
Yeah.
Mayor was gonna make that request of them, that he could get us a written report quarterly.
And I did.
So
I did
that-
make
so
that
that we
request,
can,
yeah.
we can
And-
know what our money's doing for us.
And I think also at least one time a year come in and.
Well, he was
Yeah.
scheduled to come in, and then they had family crisis, and I know.
That happens.
That
Yeah.
happens. We're just
Yeah.
saying that one time a year that is convenient and.
It's,
A little negotiation.
And there is a lot
here.
of things that
If
they
they're gonna
would-
give us, if they're gonna give, not us, but council a quarterly report,
yeah,
then pay them by quarters.
they,
Yeah.
oh,
we
that
could
could
do
be
that.
done,
That could be
yeah.
We could do that.
That's a good, yeah.
They won't have no
that's-
problem with that.
But, I know they've just recently applied for our behalf, 2 projects that are looking for areas, looking for localities to open up, like battery things. So those are all, they apply for all those for us. And that goes through RGP, Regional Growth Partnership, Jobs Ohio, also with ODOT. I mean, those can be very technical things. And they
So
did 10, I
factors-
think they've done 10 of those this year altogether.
You're talking about factories?
Yeah, yeah. So
Also,
they're-
isn't it the
And
30, Route 30 project, isn't
Yeah, they're
it?
working on that. The other thing too, with the house foods, yeah, we almost got, we were in the finalists there.
And understandably, they
they-
can't
they,
tell us everything, but I think even in that instance, we could
Yeah.
have been given a report that says, I'm working on something that could
Right,
bring
yeah.
potentially blank number of jobs, and
They-
that's all I can tell you right now.
But they weren't
No,
allowed
but it was
to.
confidential.
It was all
Yeah.
But they can say I'm
No,
working on a
nothing.
project. They can't even
They
tell us
can't say
that.
No.
Not in that, that was.
No, yeah, we
specific
had
from the
all
beginning.
signed letters ourselves of
Yeah.
confidential. We couldn't even tell anybody.
So in that instance, is that something that, whether it be a committee or full council, could be brought into that and sign confidential agreements as well, meet in executive session?
It
and
was
fill
their
us in?
terms. It was House Foods terms.
But did
Yeah.
they say you could only tell 2 people from the city versus 8
Yeah,
people
you
from the
had to-
city?
Yeah.
But you
It was-
couldn't tell anybody.
Couldn't tell
What
anybody.
I'm saying is the confidentiality agreement that you signed, couldn't we also be brought into that and sign something? So that we're making decisions.
We're the legislation.
We're
Yeah,
making
I-
decisions
yeah, I know,
financially,
but
it'd be nice,
I-
that
but
would
we
make me
were-
feel better.
we could ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
wouldn't
could, we
hurt to
certainly
ask.
asked, but that was the terms of the people that were looking at it.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but maybe share with the partnership that if possible,
Yeah.
we'd like to be brought into things and
Yeah.
we're willing to meet in executive session and sign the same agreements.
Yeah.
At
I
least
think,
it-
I think they look at it like the more people that know, the more likely it is to get out.
Absolutely.
And they don't want it out.
Well, you
Yeah,
could
they
at
don't want
least
it out.
go to public lands, whatever.
Yeah.
committee-
Economic development.
Yeah, economic development, and just
Yeah,
go
but then
executive
doesn't it
session
become
on that.
public record?
Oh, well, no, you can go to executive session for
Exactly.
But even executive
negotiations.
session, I understand, is public record.
No.
No,
No.
nothing's
No.
taped, nothing's wrote
The
down.
minutes would say that they met in executive session to discuss something.
Yes.
Could be
But
negotiations.
people can go out of executive session and they're not bound by secrecy.
If you sign a confidentiality agreement, they are.
Okay.
Well,
So-
yeah, but
Yeah, then if they
I know,
blab-
I
then if they
know
blab,
that there
isn't
have
it
been
risky?
executive sessions that I hear out in the street what went on.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
So that's,
really?
yeah. So
Yeah, I get it. I get
I
it.
understand. Yeah, it's a tricky thing, I know.
Okay, that's
So
good.
right now, we've got, some other things that are with that, and then, one thing they do, I mean, we've got some other issues, but primarily with workforce. The relationship with employers is critical. I know they work with Timken for job fair, and they were very close. So they got a grant for such rail car repair. I mean, those are things that, man.
Yeah.
those
Well,
those
these are things we could
those are
probably
things that are
continue
valuable.
discussing when we get a report from it.
Yeah.
Like ideal if we had the money, it would, we have our own, we'd hire a pro. You're gonna pay somebody well into 6 figures for, and the budget is gonna, we've had offers, people, every year you get offers. I think the last one was around $350,000
Oh,
to do it for us.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
The good news is, an investment firm bought BPT
Yes.
out of New York. So keep your fingers crossed,
Yeah.
but that's all we
Yeah.
know right now.
That's all we know.
All right, are there any other questions from the committee?
I have none.
Okay,
Are you gonna set another date to go over it?
Well, that's what I kind of asked the question
We're
of when
doing
we would get this
Thursday.
from her, so.
I will be out of town Thursday evening. Do you need me to?
No, I think
got
from
it.
my standpoint, and I don't mean to speak for you guys, but I'll share my thought on this, is if Joyce has us for us to meet in this committee Thursday night, I don't necessarily know that we need to meet publicly with it. I think each of us can individually have a couple of days to look through it on our own. And then maybe and that was one of the reasons why I asked you if wait until the 21st was appropriate. We would then have to schedule another meeting to request the legislation after we've had time to look through it. And so I think I'd feel comfortable waiting until we got it in our hands, and then
Okay.
we can set a date.
Next week.
So what you could actually possibly, are you planning to have a committee meeting the last week of?
no.
No, we don't plan on having one unless there's some emergent need. And if there is, I think that almost needs rescheduled to a different
Okay.
date.
Okay.
Just,
That's the 23rd, that's,
no, we just go to the new year.
yeah. So potentially then the following week, we
Okay.
would have to have a one last.
So maybe like 2 weeks from tonight, possibly?
So we
No,
don't need one
no,
on the
not
20.
tonight.
We don't need one on the 23rd then.
That's
Committee
correct.
meeting.
Right.
Yeah, I would think if anything, we would meet the week of the 13th
Okay, so,
to
yeah.
request legislation if we have it in our hands to
The
be
only
able to.
days available is the 14th and 15th.
Well, do we want to
Tuesday,
set a day now then before
Well,
stuff
let's
starts
see
to
what
book it up?
Bruce is
Depends.
available
Yeah,
and Joyce.
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
I thought
I
you were
have
booked
one
those
day
2
open
days.
that week, and it's the 13th.
That's
That's the day I have open. I got a vacation day, I can meet any day, anytime.
You're not available the
I'm
13th?
not available 13th.
Just take a day off.
I-
Because I've got
It's not that,
meetings
it's, I have to be
Tuesday.
at the room.
Wednesday and Thursday evenings,
What time?
5 o'clock.
Unless we had a slew of questions, I would think we could meet and request legislation in a 10-minute time period.
You get a dinner break? We'll bring you food.
The 14th or
I have to be
15th?
at the library from 4 to 6 on the 17th.
What's
When
this?
did you say the 14th, 15th?
I have, on the 14th, I have finance committee at church. On the 16th, I have council meeting at church.
But the 15th?
The 15th is Advent services at the church.
What, was there like a big minute 4:15 and you're out of here at 4:30?
That's
That
fine.
would work. on
That's what I was
15th.
thinking.
The
What-
15th?
Yeah,
Yeah.
This
that would
tentatively set it there?
Is that a Wednesday?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
We'll
just
tentatively send it
Wednesday, December
15th.
15th at 4:15.
Yep.
Okay.
That's two things we have on the 15th.
It is. I will take my duties as interim council clerk and invite the council members. Don't you steal my thunder.
Okay.
Okay.
Okey dokey.
Thor?
4:15.
4:15 Wednesday.
Okay.
Next one, we should, you gotta confirm that, right? You gotta confirm that, or are we confirming?
No, I think we're setting that right now.
Okay.
Let me double check.
You already have a plans at 2 o'clock that day.
I know we've got something.
This room
But you're not allowed to
has,
say because Kevin took
Yeah.
his,
I know, okay.
this room has a 12:30 to 3 o'clock meeting with the EPA.
Yes.
And then 5:30 civil services in here, so we're fine at
So you're
4:15.
gonna miss the most important thing of
No,
the
the
year.
EPA is Friday.
No, that's Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada's the 10th, the EPA is the 15th.
So you're gonna miss it.
Okay.
You're gonna miss the most important thing ever. Could you please just share it with, well, never mind, no you can't.
Nope, I'll do that. I'll go send an email as soon as I'm done with this meeting, as soon as Mark adjourns.
Oh, Mayor. Oh, Mayor.
Anyhow,
Heck with the EPA then.
That's right. That's exactly what you're gonna say.
we're setting our special finance committee meeting on the 15th at 4:15 PM here in the council chambers. And with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 6:01 PM.